Hello music theory students, Mr. Lefebvre here, talking today about repeats. We will start with the basic repeat sign. The repeat sign is two dots, followed by a thin line and a thick line. If you see a repeat by itself, you return to the beginning of the piece and repeat that much. If more music continues after the repeat, you play that after the section has been repeated. If the composer doesn't want you to return to the beginning of the piece, but rather wants you to repeat a section of the music, you will see a forward repeat sign, shown by a thick line, a thin line, and then two dots. When you reach the end repeat with the dots on the left, you repeat back to the forward repeat with the dots on the right. Sometimes repeated sections will have different endings. If this is the case, you will see a 1 in a bracket above your music. This is called the first ending. Since this is your first time through this section of music, you perform what is inside the first ending until the repeat sign. Then you repeat back either to the beginning of the piece or to the forward repeat sign and play the section again. This time, instead of playing the first ending, you skip it and play the second ending, shown by a 2 with a bracket. Pieces can have more than 2 endings. However, having 2 endings is most common for repeated sections. Another form of repeat is the DC al fine. The DC stands for da capo, which translates from Italian to by head or the top. When you see a DC al fine, you first return to the beginning or top of the piece. Al fine means the end, so after returning to the top of the piece, you sing until you find the word fine, signaling the end of the piece. The final type of repeat is the DS al coda. The DS stands for dal segno, which translates to from the sign. When you see the DS al coda, you will return to the sign. In our example, the sign can be seen at measure 4. It looks like an S with a slash through it, and 1 dot on either side. Al coda means the tail in Italian. This helps us, as the coda is usually at the end or tail of the piece. After returning to the sign, you will continue until you see the words to coda. You will then skip to the end of the piece, signaled by the coda symbol, a circle with a cross through it, similar to a crosshair. This means the first time you see the sign and the words to coda in your music, you do nothing. Let's talk through a couple examples. In this piece, we would begin by singing the first line. At the end of the first line, we see the word fine. However, that means nothing to us at this point. Then we would sing the second line. Moving into the third line, we see a repeat sign at the end. This tells us to repeat back to the forward repeat sign at the beginning of the third line. Our second time through singing the third line, we see DC al fine, so we return to the beginning of the piece and sing until the word fine. Let's have a listen and follow along. Here's an example for piano. We begin by playing the pickup measure and the first 2 measures. Then we get to the first ending. We play the first ending and repeat back to the first measure where we see the forward repeat. We then play the first 2 measures again and jump to the second ending. After the second ending, we play the entire second line. We now see DS al coda. That tells us we return to the sign. At the sign, we play the first 2 measures again, and this time take the third ending, as it's our third time through this music. We play the third ending and return to the first measure. We again play those 2 measures, and this time jump to the fourth ending. This time we see to coda, so we jump to measure 12, where the coda sign is, and finish the piece. Let's have a listen and follow along. To review, repeats are 2 dots followed by a thin line and a thick line. They tell you to go back and repeat from the beginning of the music. They may include a forward repeat, letting you know only to repeat a certain section, and may include first, second, or more endings. A DCL fine tells you to go to the beginning of the piece and continue until the word fine. And a DSL coda tells you to return to the sign, continue until the words to Coda, and then skip to the Coda symbol. Thanks for watching.